Hey everyone, welcome to the first patch rundown of season 2015. Preseason may be over, but we're still talking about strategic diversity. With me again is Joshua Jatt Leesman and DJ Greg Street. What's up, y'all?
It's good to be here again.
Is it?
It was until just now.
I was being nice.
Yeah.
So let's kick things off with kind of where we left off last time, right? It's been a month or so since preseason's been out. And we have kind of some findings on where we did well, where we didn't do well, things like that. So what do we got?
Well, we set out, we really wanted players to focus on objectives more, and they're definitely doing that, and that's working out well. We also wanted to make sure there was more diversity of strategies, you know, in the jungle and in lanes, and we're not quite at the level of champion diversity that we want to see yet. There's supposed to be 4 ways to play the jungle. Maybe we're at 1.5 ways right now. So we're still, you know, have some changes we want to make now and for future patches going into the new season.
I don't know about you guys, but I saw a lot of Warwick over the break.
Yeah. Really? What game were you playing?
Yeah, it's like, what is this? It's like, well, I saw him like right in the little corner underneath the banned list.
Oh, right.
That's where I saw
Or the
Warwick.
disabled part.
Yeah.
To be completely fair, when the patch first came out, I was having a ton of fun experimenting with all these different junglers, figuring out how I can make this guy work. I was doing some wacky things like Crystalline Flask on a few junglers. I still do that on a Mumu
Jatt, please.
and Wukong.
It's too wacky.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah, I think it's actually really good. And as far as individual play, since I'm not necessarily at a pro level, I can get away with these like slight different optimizations and miss some power points in the game. But I think those guys are really close to being at the competitive level. It's just not there yet, and that's why we see Jarvan and Lee Sin every game.
We're also we're buffing a lot of junglers this patch. We are really trying to focus on kind of bringing some of these other guys up.
And totally. Yeah. Players are often asking us, like, hey, why can't you buff a lot of people rather than nerfing the couple of outliers? And here's an opportunity where we're trying to do just that.
Yeah, and it really seems like this is a case where, you know, we're willing to say Jarvan and Lee Sin, very strong, but we don't actually think that they're the best.
They might not be too strong, I think is the main point, because junglers, by and large, are still feeling a little underappreciated. And there's a ton of jungle buffs going in this patch that I think you're going to guide us to later. But honestly, I look at the top challenger players in every region. It's like, well, yeah, there's a bunch of mid laners and 80 carries right there, and maybe the jungler and top laner thrown in there randomly, and maybe the jungler, it's time for a little bit of love.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And the jungle, I think it's fair to say, the jungle has just gotten a little harder since last season, so I think we have room to buff some of them there.
Yeah. It's definitely fair. The number of people who've seen dying to Gromp would also agree with you. They're like, yeah, but Gromp is strong, though.
I died to Gromp yesterday.
We need a t-shirt.
I died to Gromp, and all I got was this t-shirt. Yeah, so I'm going to kick it over to you, actually. So we have another big change coming to the jungle, and that is there are 2 charges of smite.
Yeah.
I was just allowed to smite players. Now I get to smite twice. This is too much for me to handle. What's going on?
One of the things we wanted to do is give players a lot of things they could do with smite. You can use smite to get buffs from the jungle. You can even use smite on enemy players. One of the problems we were seeing is that, you know, smite is still powerful and needs a reasonably long cooldown. So we wanted to make sure that if you use smite, say in a team fight, you still had it available to actually go clear your objectives.
So, Jatt, you had some pretty big concerns when we were looking over this change specifically.
Yep.
What's up?
Absolutely, because the biggest thing I noticed was that the recharge time in the smite chart was 75 seconds.
Yeah.
And the cooldown of smite currently was 60. And there's all this talk about, yeah, you can use smite on players and the jungle. What if I just want to smite the jungle because I like Ranger's Trailblazer?
Which we told you you'd be able to do.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, I guess I couldn't do that anymore. But then I talked to some of the designers, and I got pretty reassured, actually. If it was just 60 seconds, it's a unilateral buff across everything because you're never using it exactly on cooldown.
Right.
And there's always going to be downtime. And effectively, if it's 2 charges with 60 seconds, you can get 3 smites really quickly with the way the charge system works.
Sure.
And now it also gives me some freedom to take like a blue buff and then dragon and still have it. Or if I want to take one raptor camp and then the other, I can still do that. On top of all the other jungle buffs that are happening this patch. There's an experience thing, there's more gold. And I think overall it will be strong, even for Trailblazer. If Chilling Smite still needs to get nerfed later, probably I think that's going to happen, but we'll end up seeing.
Sure, right. So in the end, right, it's like just more options.
It's more freedom.
Yeah. So let's start talking about objectives. People are taking far more dragons than they were ever taking before, and much earlier, which I find interesting. People are just like more risky. They're like, oh, I want to get the first dragon buff. We're all almost dead. Let's take it.
They're kind of
like,
losing their mind.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff about dragon actually having a large impact. Like whoever gets the first dragon they're winning the game a whole bunch of the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not sold on the power of Dragon 1 and 2 necessarily completely swinging the game.
Yeah.
What I am sold on is the fact that people are going crazy and suiciding for Dragons 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I've had so many games where the team has no business taking Dragon. They got like a level 4 Jarvan who just ganked and he's at half health and they like took the support down.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 people that can throw like an Orianna ball in there and get a triple kill. And then yeah, they get the first Dragon. They just got a triple kill and they're gonna win the game. But none of that would have happened if the team wasn't overly committing for Dragon.
Yeah.
We really wanted players to be thinking about Dragon and teams to be like, is now the right time? Do we need to worry about what the other team is doing? And that's clearly happening. Now, is it swinging things too far? I know there's arguments on both sides. We're just going to have to keep an eye on that. We definitely don't want it to be the case that whoever gets first Dragon wins.
Yeah. So there is another statistic, though, that I think is important to bring up, which is game time has actually increased a little bit.
Yeah, and that's not something we're trying to. We think League is long enough as it is. We're not entirely sure yet if it's, are players still trying to figure it out? Are they playing a little conservatively? We think there's this phenomenon where it's the end of the game and you could probably close it out, but if you got one more Dragon stack, it would be a little less risky.
I can kind of combo off that. I've talked to a lot of people and experienced a bit myself. A lot of people just don't know what to do at a certain point in the game, 25, 30 minutes. They're like, yeah, even if they're going well, they've gotten 3 Dragons max. They're probably sitting at 2. They don't want to do Baron because it will literally kill you unless you have your whole team. And if you do, then the team will come back and take Baron off you. And the base turrets with the lasers are really hard to take without Baron. So they're in this murky space where they're just trying to farm. And I think that's one of the big reasons games are long.
Yeah. And so...
And that's a good, it's a good transition because part of the problem is it is hard to take Baron now. And it's a little risky. We see teams just kind of neglecting it when that's supposed to be an answer to how do I crack that base open as I get this powerful siege buff in Baron.
Yeah. I mean, when we were here last, right, we were talking about Baron and all of its strength for sieging down, but when you can't really take it till like 50, 60 minutes in the game anyways, when you're probably already firmly in the driver's seat, it's probably not going to do a whole lot for you to close the game out earlier than that. So we do have changes for Baron now that right at his spawn at 20 minutes, much, much weaker.
Maybe a little too weak. Like, I've seen some of these changes. I know it's bad to go too far. This is on the line of going too far. I think Baron is much easier to take early on, which I think will definitely make games faster, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think that's part of what we're kind of going for here, which is right now we're not really seeing any Barons taken. We're they are kind of this thing.
It's just not worth it.
Before the season, you were seeing Baron taken as almost the last thing before the game ended, right? There was a Baron throw or there was a Baron take, and either you win on that fight or you win on that recall. Where now it's more tame and it's more strategic, right? But you want to get it earlier and probably get it in that zone where you start trading.
I mean, when Dragon is a bigger effect on the game, almost by definition, Baron's going to be less important. But we still want it to be there. We don't want we don't want Baron Nashor to just totally be ignored in every game. That's weird. Yeah.
He would be sad.
We
gave him all that new cool model, and people just let him over there. Dragon looks awesome too. So last thing I want to talk about here is also pretty big, maybe a little bigger than we're gonna sell it here. But base gates.
We have holes in the base now.
Yes,
and people can run out of them.
Base is legal.
Only your own team though. That is the mechanic. Blue side and red side have 2 gates in between their base walls. Only they can go in and out. The enemy team can't. You still dash over, you still do anything you want. So with so much talk of kind of games going longer and people really not feeling like they know what to do, where does this sit?
I mean, we think League is most fun, whether you're playing or spectating, when there are these exciting moments. And so we're just opening up more options. If you're trapped inside your base and you feel like there's nothing you can do to kind of hold off the inevitable, well, now there's something you can do. It's not necessarily gonna turn things around and win a game if you're down 20,000 gold or something. But if you wanna get out and try to flank or try to do something else, you don't just kind of have to wait for the enemy to come all in.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's like that LeBlanc 16-1, but I got her with the base gate.
I got out the base
I'm
gate.
Going for the flank. Oh God, I'm dead. Yeah, no, I imagine there's gonna be some of that. But guys, thank you for coming back and talking shop with me about all the changes that we're doing. That's it for the patch rundown. We'll be back to tackle 5.2 like always. For myself, Jatt, Greg, and the entire Rundown crew, we hope you have an amazing start to the new season. Good luck, have fun.